Yes, Ms. Naha, you can start now.
Okay, so I'm going to reshare my PowerPoint presentation in a minute as well. So I just need it to open. So give me a few seconds. But during this, as I said, I'll appreciate if you can bring a piece of paper and a pen because we're going to need them in today's webinar. Okay, can you see my screen? Yes, okay, great. Okay. By the way, feel free to, share your ideas in the chat box. And of course, if you want to unmute your mics and share it with us with your mics, that's okay as well. Okay, so of course, you all know that today's webinar is about how to write smart objectives. And as teachers, objectives are very important thing for us because it's part of our daily routine, right? So every day we prepare our lessons, and the first thing we think about and we write in our lesson plans is the objectives. Okay, so let me ask you first a question. What do you think these letters of the word SMART stand for? Take few seconds to think about it. You can share your ideas in the chat box or you can unmute your mics. That's fine as well. Okay, so I can see some people, Rabah, right? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the name in the right way. She said measurable, Salwa measurable as well. So I guess you're talking about M for measurable. Salwa said S for specific, great. Roba as well, specific. Muhammad Nabil, our great teacher, said specific, measurable, attainable, time bound. Okay, Muhammad. Samia said describing people, smart for describing people. Okay. Reliable, R for reliable. Okay, interesting. Okay, great answers. That's really great. Anyone else? Okay, so this is your idea about what SMART stands for. And as you know, today is about how to write SMART objectives. So what I want you to do now is to try to use your guesses, okay, to write one, just one SMART objective of any lesson you're going to teach or already taught, okay? Write in your paper and then share in the chat box, or you can use your mics.
I can see Ahmed is smart. He is wearing.
Uh,
I
okay,
can see Ahmed is smart. He is wearing handsome clothes. I can
okay.
see Ahmed
Mm.
is smart. He thinking well. He is thinking well. He can do difficult sums in mathematics, as it's describing people in thinking and in wearing.
Okay, thank you so much. Who was talking?
Samia Muhammad Barakat.
Okay, Samia. Nice to meet you, Samia. Actually, this is a very nice sentence, but actually, the aim of the task, when you prepare a lesson, when you prepare any lesson, okay, so what you start to do first is you start to write the objectives of the lesson, right?
Yes, yes.
So, for example, you say by the end of the lesson, the students will be able to do whatever. Okay. So, actually, our focus today is on these objectives, how to write correct, smart objectives. Okay. So, we're talking about the objectives today.
Okay.
Do you
Yes.
know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
Thank you.
Okay. So, you're welcome. Okay. So, anyone? Anyone else? Okay, so Salwa said, talk about past habits using the past simple tense. Thank you so much. This is a very good objective, okay, of a lesson. For example, about teaching your students the past simple tense. So one of your objectives is about talking about past habits using the past simple tense. Thank you so much. That's exactly what I mean. Okay, anyone else? Okay, so Rabah said by the end of the lesson, students will be able to run on a short conversation in the past simple. Very good. Thank you so much. Rasha said, talk about his dreams in future. Thank you. Omran said, using past perfect tense in a correct way. Thank you. So all these are, grammar objectives that we write in our lesson preparation, in our lesson plans before we enter our classes. Jihan said, abstract the adjective in the passage. Very good. Okay. So her lesson here is about identifying adjectives. Ayman said, talk about their daily routine for talking about present simple. Thank you so much. Very great examples. Thank you, guys. Okay, so I want you to keep now your objectives because we're going to use them again. Okay, and let's move on. So what I want you to do now is to take a look again at the objectives you wrote and identify the main objective, okay, and the activity, if there is one, students need to do to achieve this objective with different colors, okay? So look at the sentence you wrote, the objective you wrote, okay, and underline what you think is the main objective. For example, the past simple tense, to teach them the past simple tense, and the activity students need to do to achieve this objective with different colors. For example, they are going to run conversation about past events, okay? That's what I mean. Can you do this? Okay, so by now, I hope you did that. Okay. Now let's check together. Okay, understand and then check. Now, first of all, to do this, you need to differentiate between two things: objectives versus activities. Okay, so what do we mean by objectives? Objectives are the statements or sentences of specific skills that you want your students to gain from the lesson. For example, by the end of the lesson, students will be able to, or sometimes we use this abbreviation, SWABAT, identify the main idea of a certain text. Okay, so here it's very general statement. Whereas activities are the experiences or events that you have the students engage in to gain those skills. For example, by the end of the lesson, students will read a short text on a certain topic and choose the best title for this text. So we need to understand this point first. So as you can see, I highlighted under objectives the word identify. But under activities, I highlighted the word read. Okay, so this is the kind of activity they are going to do. Okay, hopefully you got that point. Let's see example, okay, to check our understanding. I want you to consider the following objectives and sort them under the correct title. Okay, so we have here two objectives and I want you to list them under the correct title in the table. Okay, number one, by the end of the lesson, the learners will be able to recognize the vocabulary of appearance by listening to two people talking about Christian Bale and Renee Zellweger and how their appearance changed from one movie to another. Number two, by the end of the lesson, the learners will be able to identify the main idea and scan for specific information of a text about peer pressure. So now, number one, where to put number one and where to put number two? What do you think? Okay, so Sarah's saying that number one will put it under activities and number two will put under objective. Jihan agrees with Sarah. She says the same number one, I'm gonna put it under activities. Okay, anyone else? Okay, Rabah agrees the same. Iman says one stands for activities, two objectives, and Maha agrees as well.
Example number one, I think under activities, example number two under objectives.
Excellent. Yes, that's correct. Actually, that's correct. So now we are on the same page. We agree on the idea that objectives are general statements, okay, without any details. But, okay, when it comes to activities, if we're gonna talk about or write, okay, the exact activity that our students are gonna do, then we're talking about something else, which are the activities. Okay. So the point here is we don't want to simply write activities when we should be writing objectives. And we do need to make sure that we are writing objectives and using activities as a way to achieve those objectives. So this is the first point I wanted to state in today's webinar. Now let's get down to the second point, which is what makes an objective worthwhile? What do you think? What makes me choose this objective and leave another one?
as the standard of the students. If the students are
Very good. Very
high
good.
level,
Okay,
I
the level of the
can
students.
use,
Yeah,
yes, I can
excellent.
use مثلا difficult adjectives. but لو الليفل بتاع الستودنت weak I can choose simple adjectives.
Excellent. So the level of the students, Heba said the need of the students, excellent. Okay, their level, their needs, Iman agrees. Okay. Very good. Anyone else? Any ideas? Okay, so I agree with you. Okay, but today we're going to focus on two things that makes an objective worthwhile. Okay, let's check them together. Number one, I'll just ask some of you to unmute, to mute their mics. Okay, so we can hear, yeah, one another. Okay, thank you so much. So number one, okay, it has to be relevant. And by relevant, we mean to be something that students will use in real life. I want you to consider the following. By the end of the lesson, students will develop their ability of writing a postcard. What do you think? And here we're talking about Generation Z of the smartphones and tablets and, you know, social media and online platforms. What do you think? If I'm going to stand inside the classroom and teach them how to write a postcard, will they be interested? Yes or no?
Of course, yes, of course, yes, of course.
So you think our children will be interested in writing a postcard?
Yes,
No.
yes. The circumstances with the students in private schools different from students in local schools.
Okay.
So I can give students in high standards also, not only level in language or in education, but also level in standards in social environment.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, let's see what the rest think about that. So Heba is saying perhaps if we have special shapes to attract their attention. Okay, yeah, but actually I'm talking about the objective now. Now I have the you know, the right to choose this one and leave that one. Okay, so do you think, okay, it is relevant to my students' real life now to teach them how to write a postcard, or to teach them, for example, how to write a Facebook post, for example, or an email? What do you think, email or postcard?
Email, because it is going with their age or with era.
But, exactly, yes. Thank you.
Yes.
So exactly. Okay, so actually, who is sending postcards nowadays? Who?
No one.
No one. Okay,
it's old fashioned. It's old fashioned.
Exactly. Okay, so now we're talking about something that's very old fashioned. Okay, maybe our children, okay, don't know what a postcard is. Okay, they didn't see one. Okay, it's not there. They haven't seen anyone using it anymore, so they don't know what is it. But if I told him, okay, we're gonna write a Facebook post today, they know what a Facebook post is. We're gonna comment on it. They know how to do that. Okay, so it's very, very important when I choose my objective to choose relevant ones, very relevant to their real life. Okay, not old-fashioned ones or something that outdated. Thank you so much. Okay, so the first thing, again, that makes an objective worthwhile is to be relevant. Okay, let me just go back. Okay. The second thing for an objective to be a worthwhile one, give me a minute, I skipped the slide. No. Relevant. So you need to look at each objective and ask yourself two questions. The first question is, will students use this skill in real life? This is the first one. And the second question is, if not, they won't use it, okay? Do students need this skill in order to gain another useful skill? For example, in many course books, okay, they include this exercise, speaking exercise, very famous exercise, okay, where we ask our students to role play, okay? Do you have this in your course books, role play?
Yes.
So they include role play activities. Why? Is it for the sake of role playing?
No.
Am I training them to be actors? No. But it's to improve their speaking skills, okay? So here, there is an objective, okay, to gain another skill, okay? So the students will not use the role play, of course, okay? I'm not training them to be actors, but I'm asking them to role play to improve their speaking skills, okay?
But role play now is the mean of strategies, role play for students and the teacher.
Exactly. But why? Why are you using this strategy? You're using this strategy to improve their speaking because you want them to speak and talk, right?
Yes.
Not for the sake of role play itself.
More collaborative.
Yes, so we're saying that my objective or my main aim is not to train them to role play. This is not my main objective, okay?
No, to
My
help
main
them
objective,
pronounce well.
yeah, my main objective is to urge them to speak. So I'm using role play as a way, okay, to urge them to speak.
Yes, okay.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
That's what I mean.
Not right. As speaking, not writing.
Yeah, speaking. Role play, it's related to speaking.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So if the answer to either questions is yes, then your objective is likely to be a worthwhile one. Okay, number two, application. Think about how do students apply or use what they learn. If we consider the previous objective that we just said, for students to be able to role play, to improve their speaking, application might be that you want your students to be able to introduce themselves to others properly in real life, so they will practice this in class, okay? So we want to write objectives that require more than just memorization, okay? It requires action. It will be very much related to their real life. They are gonna use it, okay? So we need our objectives to be applicable as much as we can. So you have to ask yourself, how will the students actually reflect on and practice these skills in real life? Okay. So what I want you to do now is to look again at the objective you wrote at the beginning and check if it's worthwhile or not. Is it reliable? Is it applicable? Okay. Then if it's the two of them, then your objectives are worthwhile ones. Okay, great. If not, then you need to change them. Okay, so let's move on and answer the question, how to write good objectives. In order to write good objectives, they need to be SMART ones. Let's now check out what SMART stands for. S stands for specific, M for measurable, A for achievable, R for relevant, and T is for time oriented. Okay, let's start with specific. Okay, so specific means that my objective includes who and what. Who
Should be
is this?
determined.
Yes,
Should be
you have,
determined.
yeah, you have to write it crystal clear in your objective, okay? Who is the subject of your objective statements? Students or participants, in case you are giving a course, for example. And what are the skills you hope they will achieve? Okay? For example, and here is an example, students will be able to, or swabat, identify the main idea of a certain text. So the word students here is who, stands for who, okay? And identify the main idea of a certain text is what they're gonna achieve or gain. Now, what I want you to do, yeah.
If you can excuse me, doctor, okay. Is it accurate if I say students will be able to, or should I say students should have the ability to, or should have, like, by the end of the session, students should have, right? Because that would make it possibly happening, not surely happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think it will matter, you know?
Okay.
What
so
matters
if I want
really,
to measure
it's about anticipations. Yeah, this is our anticipations and expectations to what will happen, you know, by the end of the lesson. So we know that it's our, expectations. So it doesn't matter which, structure you're using really, okay? But the most important thing here is to include the target of your aim or objective. Okay, who are they? Students, participants, what we're talking about, teachers maybe, if you're giving them a course, okay, trainees. So you have to identify the objective. Yeah.
Very good. What if, what if I say this objective and I do not reach that objective at the end? Wouldn't that be like not a clear objective? Like, what if I make my objective possibly going to happen, not definitely going to happen, because I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do that. That's going to be my educational purpose and the purpose of my assessment, right? My feedback is going to be targeted at that. What if I make it possible instead of like certain? What do you think?
Okay. Okay. If I may, Sulaiman, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Okay. Can we postpone this point till the end of the session? Because I'm gonna, relate to it after a while. But actually, it's because this problem has nothing to do with writing the objective itself. It's something else. So we can discuss it later. Toward the end of the session. Okay.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. Okay. So what we need to focus here on is that, as we said, okay. Number one is to be specific, means my objective has to include who and what. And now we can see the example. So what I want you to do now is to underline, look at the objective you wrote and underline or write the wordings that show this criterion. So in your objective, if you didn't write in your objective statements who or what, you need to include them now. Okay? Okay. Number two, our objective needs to be measurable. And by measurable, we mean, okay, two questions. Can we measure the objective? Can we observe it? We should be able to see or observe if the students are able to achieve the objective. I want you to think of the following objectives. Let's read them together. By the end of the lesson, learners will learn vocabulary about emotions. By the end of the lesson, learners will have better understanding of some collocations. By the end of the lesson, learners will know the state verbs. What do you think? Can you observe such objectives? Yes or no? Okay, Sulaiman says yes. Rasha, no, doesn't agree. Iman, yes. Rabah, yes. Rania, yes. How? Tell me how. The question, yeah, the question, Ahmed Smile says no. Okay, why no, why yes? Okay, they are vague. Formative assessment, Sulaiman says through formative assessment. Okay. Unmeasurable. Miss Sue says unmeasurable. Actually, okay, so we have here, disagreement between us, okay, whether we can measure them or not. Actually, objectives like these ones that have words like learn, understand, know, okay, verbs like these verbs cannot be measured. Why? Because we cannot observe them. Okay, so this is a very important point you need to take care of. Okay, and a good reference to use as a teacher when writing objectives is Bloom's taxonomy, or what we call in Arabic al-Harm al-Ma'rifi. Okay, so the thing you'll notice about the verbs of the taxonomy is that they are all active verbs. I want you to take few minutes to check the taxonomy and the verbs under each category. Can you do this? So if you take a close look, you won't find any verbs like know, you won't find the verb understand, you won't find the verb, for example, learn. Okay, what you're gonna see are verbs like define, identify, describe, interpret, classify, summarize, use, apply, show, relate, analyze, judge, support, compare, contrast, design, develop. So all the verbs here in Bloom's taxonomy are action verbs. Okay, so it's very important when writing objectives to make sure that the verbs we're using are action verbs. Okay. Now, what I want you to do again is to take a look at the objective you edited, okay, and see if it's measurable or not. Okay. Number 3, achievable. Do you have, and by achievable we means, do you have the resources and materials to achieve it? For example, by the end of the lesson, students will be able to identify the main idea of a listening track. So it's a listening lesson. So in order to give them a listening lesson, I need what? I need a lab or headphones or speakers. I need a track, of course, CD player, and the CD, okay, I need the worksheet they're gonna complete, for example, or with the, whatever exercise, true or false, or whatever, or their course book. So these are the materials and resources I need to have in order to, present a successful listening lesson. So if I don't have any of these, okay, then my aim or my objective can't be achievable, right? So this is another thing you need to make sure of. When you prepare a lesson, okay, you need to make sure that this objective can be achieved. So what I want you to do again, is to take a look at your objective and see if it's achievable or not. Okay, number 4, relevant, R for relevant. And I'm not gonna stay here much because we talked about this. And by relevant, we mean that it should be related to the real life of our students. Remember the example of the postcard, okay? So we said that it's old-fashioned thing, okay? It's better to teach them, for example, how to write an email, okay? So that what we mean by relevant. The last thing, okay, which is T for time-oriented. Will this objective be achieved by the end of the lesson, or maybe by the end of the course, by the end of the semester? So we have to include a specific time frame for the objective to be achieved. So I have to start then, as you can see, my objective now changed. Okay, so I added this part at the beginning of my objective. I said by the end of the lesson, students will be able to okay? So you have to specify time frame. Now, I might give Sulaiman a hint for what he asked a while ago. This is a tip actually, that often we find teachers complain about achieving all the objectives within the time frame. So you might find the teacher coming out of the class and then she would say to the coordinator, for example, or the head of the subject, I couldn't actually finish all the objectives. I didn't have the time to do so and so. Okay, I'll postpone this to another class. This happens, right? So in this case, we have to investigate really if it's because of the teacher's time management skills, because sometimes it's about teachers' management skills, time management skills, or there is a possibility that the objectives are too many and can't be achieved within the time frame. Okay, so she actually didn't consider the objectives or the amount of the objectives she's gonna give to her students, or she needs to achieve within the correct time frame. Now, let's take a look again at the objectives we have and see if they are time-oriented or not. And I want you to underline or write the wordings that show this criterion. Okay, so Sulaiman, I read your question about including more than one objective. Let's also keep it till the end of the session, please. And I'll answer this. Okay, let's move on. So whenever you write an objective, to sum up, whenever you write an objective, use these criteria as a checklist. So now you have a checklist, okay? You should ask yourself, is my objective specific? Includes who and what? Is it measurable? Can I observe it? And you can, of course, as we said, use Bloom's taxonomy to help you choose the correct verbs to write your objective. Is it achievable? Do I have the resources and materials to achieve this objective? Is it relevant to my students' real life? Is it time-oriented, suitable for the 45 minutes class, for example? Okay. If you answer no to any of these questions, you should change or modify your objective to make it a smart one. Then there is a problem that you need to change or re-edit your objective in order to make it a smart. Okay. So what's next? After I wrote my objective, okay, and it's a smart one, what's next? Next is time to plan my lesson, of course. So let's see how we plan our lessons. Here, there is an example. This example from a business book, because I'm a business coordinator. So I took it from the business course book. So in lesson 1, we have a topic about, our topic is about careers. Okay, so the target of the lesson is for the students to learn vocabulary related to careers. Okay, so as you can see, here I have a table, okay, divided to 3: objectives, activities, and assessment. Objectives, okay, so this is the part we worked on today. And I wrote under objectives and objectives, one of the objectives, let's read it together. By the end of the lesson, students will be able to talk about their own future career plans using related vocabulary in the course book. So now I need to ask myself, is it a smart one or not? So let's ask this question. Is it specific? Does it include who and what? Yes, it includes who, because I said students. These are my target audience. Okay, and what? So I said what they're gonna do is talk about their own future career plans using related vocabulary in the course book. So I included the activity or the objective I want them to achieve, to be able to talk about their own future career plans. Okay, is it measurable? Can it be measured? Can talking be measured? Can the ability be measured? Yes. Okay, is it achievable? Can it be achievable within my time frame? Yes, it can be achieved. Is it relevant to their life? Yes. For business students, it's very important to talk about, learn about career vocabulary. So it's very relevant to their real life. Is it time-oriented? Yes, it is time-oriented, and I highlighted that it's gonna happen by the end of the lesson. Okay, so this is something that's gonna be achieved by the end of lesson 1. Okay, when it comes to activities, I listed 3 activities: that matching activity and complete activity, and then a writing activity at the end. So these are the activities they are gonna practice in order to achieve this objective. When it comes to assessment, I said students will give short presentation in front of the class using the related vocabulary to talk about their future career plans. And here, this kind of assessment, we call it formative assessment, the one you do inside the classroom at the end of the lesson. And the assessment really is a reflection to your objective. Okay, it has to reflect the objective. That's why you're gonna notice that there are some words in the assessment that's taken from the objective. Okay, okay. So what I want you to do now is to try to use the objective you wrote throughout the session to fill the following table. Okay, so write the number of the lesson or the name of the lesson, the topic of it, write your objective, what activities you're gonna use, and how you're gonna assess your objective and make sure that it's achieved. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes to do so, and then I can listen to your ideas. Okay, Ahmed, Ismail, you missed some points, no problem. Actually, I'll grant, we'll dedicate some time toward the end of the session for any questions. So inshallah, it's not going to be a problem. Okay, and Mohammed is saying that it's going to be recorded. So yeah, you won't miss any. Okay, so I start to get, so we have here some people who finished and posted their answers. So I'm going to start with Sulaiman. Well, Sulaiman said under objectives, he wrote students should be able to demonstrate the main idea of the presented text. Okay, so Sulaiman, if we measure your objective according to the word smart, okay, we'll see that you included specific. And for the people who didn't attend the beginning of the session, you can relate now with us. So your objective is specific because it includes who and what. So it includes students and also the demonstration of the main idea of the presented text. Now, so it's specific. Is it measurable? Actually, yeah, I can actually figure out this. Actually, my problem here is with demonstrate. Okay, it's correct verb, but I'll tell you something. We can change demonstrate to identify the main idea of the text, okay, which represents reading for jest, because reading for jest or reading for specific info, or you said also rephrasing the main idea, all these are the objectives really. So I would say if I'm going to write your objective, I would say by the end of the lesson, and that's what's missing here, the time. By the end of the lesson, students should be able to identify the main idea. So here I covered the gist, the specific info, I covered the specific info, and paraphrase or rephrase the main idea of a certain text. Here, so your activities could be included with the objectives. Then under the activities, you're gonna explain or highlight how they are gonna identify the main idea or read for gist, for example. You can say, for example, by choosing the best title for the text. And under, for example, specific info by doing a true or false exercise. Under rephrasing the main idea, for example, write a sentence to summarize the main idea of the text. Okay, so your activities here needs to be more specific. What students are exactly gonna do. For the assessment, was the main idea clear? How did you find it? What clues did you use? Okay, again, assessment here, how you're gonna assess your students, okay? So are these questions that you're gonna ask your students? Are you gonna ask them, was the main idea clear? Actually, this assessment is for yourself. You might reflect on your way of teaching the lesson by asking yourself these questions. But for the students, what you're gonna do? For example, if we go back to my presentation, let me go back. Because when, sorry. So if we go back to my presentation, what I said is that students will give short presentations. So it's a kind of activity. The formative assessment here is a kind of activity students are gonna do, okay? That will reflect my objective and tell me that I managed to achieve it. So I hope that what I said cleared everything. Okay. So now let me ask you, and this is the last thing we're going to do today. Can you figure out what was my objectives for today's webinar, and what were the activities I used with you, and what was my assessment plan for today's session? You can unmute your mics and share your ideas with me. So let's fill this table together. So of course, if I want to write the topic of today's session, what was the topic of today's session? You all know? Anyone?
Yeah,
okay,
it was
so,
about how to write smart objectives.
Yes, exactly. So today's topic was about
actually,
how to
you know, I disabled.
Okay. So
yes, the users.
You muted them all.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So
okay,
you can share your ideas in the chat box. Yes. Okay. So today's topic is, of course, about how to write smart objectives. Okay. So can you figure out what was my objective for today's session?
Okay. Now they can unmute themselves. Okay, and share their ideas with all of us.
Okay. So Muhammad unmuted you all, so you can use your mics now. Okay, so Mr. Sulaiman said to identify the structure of smart objectives. Correct. Thank you so much. And again, we're going to use by the end of the session, which is written. Yes. Smart objectives, learn and write smart objectives. Very good. Yeah. But again, Rabah, let's not use the word learn. Remember, we said that we need to use active and action verbs, okay, that can be observed. Yeah.
Hello, Miss Noha. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
I have a question for you, if you please.
Can we postpone the question after we finish this activity?
Oh, yeah, sure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So under the objectives, by the end of this session, and I said, of course, because you're not students, you're participants. Okay, participants will be able to, okay, write smart objectives, identify smart objectives, use smart objectives, all are correct. Okay, if we go or move to activities, okay, so what kind of activities I used with you today to achieve this objective? I used 12 tasks.
You analyze the word smart into.
Yeah, so I asked you first to write one SMART objective according to your guesses. So that was an activity. And then we started throughout the session to edit this objective according to every criterion, okay, we learned together. So that was another way of giving you activities, okay? And of course, the last ones also, actually task 11 and task 12 could go under assessment. So this is how I assess your understanding, okay, by giving you task 11 and 12, okay? Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions now, I'll be happy to, you know, receive any of yours. We should start with Mr. Sulaiman because I postponed him till the end of the session. Mr. Sulaiman, are you with us?
Okay, Mr. Sulaiman, if you're here, please, would you please unmute yourself if you have a question?
Oh, okay. Yes, he's here. So we'll take Mr. Sulaiman first and then Mr. Ahmed Ismail.
Okay, I was just asking about the objectives. Like some teachers do have a problem with the objectives and they might state more than one objective. Is that a problem, or that like I should only include one or just at least one, not more than one? What should I do?
Actually, it's, you know, there is no rule for such thing. It depends, okay? It depends. It depends on the time I have, okay? And my awareness of my time and my ability to achieve how many objectives. So I might go inside the class with one objective, and I might go with more than one objective, okay? So it depends, but I have to be honest with myself. Will I be able to achieve this or not? And again, as I said toward the end of this, the presentation, that sometimes it's not the problem of how many objectives that I have, but sometimes it's about the time management skills of the teacher herself, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I see. All right, about also stating the objective, like students should be able to, or should I say should have, like by the end of the session, students should have like completed the task or figured out the like identified the main idea of a text or something. Which is more accurate? Or is there like there's no
I would
rule
say
for it?
should be able to. It's more specific, more accurate, you know?
How many objectives depends
Thank you,
on the
Dr.
lesson itself. If it
Well,
can concentrate on speaking, writing, reading, grammar, vocabulary, as the lesson itself, not as any skills. يعني مش لازم أنا أركز concentrate on the skill itself, but as a lesson, not as skills.
Okay, sometimes actually sometimes we have you know, systems to teach, and by systems I mean grammar. We have vocabulary lessons, okay? But usually you'll have also skills to teach, okay? Because when you teach grammar, okay, you need to see toward the end of the lesson, you need to see how your students will apply this, how they will use it. So you give them speaking activity or you give them a writing activity, okay, to see how they are going to manage to use this tense, for example, okay, within a certain context, or writing context or speaking context, okay? So usually our lessons are mix of both systems, grammar or vocabulary, and also skills. right?
Yes, of course, but if it is reading lesson and not concentrate on speaking.
Yeah, sometimes our lessons are just skills lesson. That's correct. Yes. And no problem with that.
Yes.
Yes, no problem with that. But when it comes to systems, usually, actually, most of the time, I'll have to include skills in the lesson to see how they are going to apply it.
Yes, yes, of course.
Or use the new system. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll go up in the chat box because I
please, doctor. The time of the session, please. It's not suitable for us at this time. For me, 4 o'clock p.m.
Okay. Actually, this is an exception. It's
Yeah,
just me. I'm so sorry. It won't happen again. Okay. Yeah, I hope so. It won't happen again. But because Mr. Mohammed, when he talked to me about the session, I told him, I'm so sorry, but I can't give it, at 10 p.m. after iftar or so. So I chose this time. I'm so sorry, but I don't think they are going to repeat it again. We're so sorry for that.
Okay, Miss Noha, I recorded it on
You're
YouTube.
welcome.
So if they go to YouTube, they can find what is missed from the session.
Okay, I'll just answer Mr. Ahmed Ismail's question. He said, what do we mean by specific? How can I measure my objectives? The objective is relevant to what? Okay, so Mr. Ahmed, as Ms. Sama says, you can go back, refer back to the recording in order to see what you've missed, and you're gonna find answers for all your questions over there. So any more questions? Actually, the link to the YouTube video is there in the chat box and the Facebook as well. Thank you.
When is the next session, please?
It's in the chat box.
Yeah. Inshallah, our next session would be next Tuesday, right, Miss Summer?
Yes, it will be.
Yeah, inshallah, it will be next Tuesday at 10 p.m. as I guess, because that session is an exception. All of our sessions, inshallah, would be at 10 p.m. to be suitable for everyone to participate. Of course, Ms. Iman, you can ask. Ms. Noha is still here. Yeah, you can unmute yourself and talk if you're willing.
Okay, thank you.
Hello. Regarding the objectives, sometimes.
Yes, Ms. Iman.
Yeah, so sorry about that. You can unmute yourself and talk again.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Mohammed. Okay, regarding the objectives, in my sessions also with the students, I try to write suitable objectives and choose the suitable activities. But by the end of the session, I feel no progress and I feel disappointed. And I don't know, it's my problem from the beginning or it's their problem because they don't pay attention or they don't study or they don't work on their level from the beginning, from the first session. And, I try to give them different activities, different tasks and assignments. But to be honest, they don't pay any attention and they don't do any of the assignments, even in the same session. They don't also listen or try to think or do something like this. So I finish with them that I'm disappointed and I feel no progress and no energy even to think or try to try something different. That's what I'm feeling or facing most of the time.
Okay, so Miss Iman, actually, this is a very good question, and I want to assure you that you're not alone in this, okay?
Yes.
So as teachers, we all face this problem with our students all the time, okay? That's why we attend lots of webinars and we read a lot about how to motivate our students. And I think, there was a session last week given by Ms. Shaimaa about this topic, how to motivate your students. I think she presented really nice ideas, but you can watch videos on YouTube and also read more about this topic. It's about motivating, your students really. It's not about objectives or, how to write them or whether they were many or, little for the session.
Yes.
No, it's about motivating your students. And actually, there are heaps of ways, we can maybe dedicate another session in the schedule of the academy to, show you ways to motivating your students. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. But no need to worry. It's a global, phenomenon.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. We
Yeah,
all
I'm
suffer
afraid.
from this.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, any more questions? No? Okay, so everyone, it was a pleasure meeting you, and I'm so sorry that I took from your time. Yeah, I know it's before iftar right away, and many of you are busy preparing the iftar. So sorry for this, but I'm very busy after iftar, so I couldn't give it really at 10.
We will
Thank you
have
so
iftar
much,
after
and
3 minutes.
see you. Yeah.
We are here. We will have our iftar after 3 minutes.
Sorry?
But I have attended all the session.
I invite
You have
for-
attended all the session. Okay,
Yeah,
that's great news.
but
Keep attending.
yeah,
They are
but
really
we are
useful
going to
sessions.
have.
We're gonna.
Yeah, but we have only 3 minutes left to have our iftar.
I invite you, Ms. Dr. Noha, to have, inshallah, iftar with me.
Thank you so much. I'd love to, but my time in Ramadan is very tight.
Definitely.
Thank you so much. Very generous of you.
Thank you, doctor. Really, you have given us a lot of enrichment for this side, and I really benefited a lot. And I do wish
Thank you,
that
Mr.
you will
Ismail.
really give us extra things for these things, because of as a teacher, right? It is really a very vital to have smart objectives in every lesson, which really keep the student is involved for whatever we are teaching, and this is the better way that they can be more productive. Okay.
Of course. Thank you so much, Mr. Ismail. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we have attendees from Somalia and also from India. Yeah,
welcome.
Yeah, but they weren't talking. But inshallah, next time they can be involved more in the session. Thank you so much. It was a fruitful one. Thank you.
Even the academy, even the academy, really, we would really request you just to prepare just certificates for these things, because we have taken a lot of different trainings, but so far we didn't have any testimonies about that, and including the text slides and everything. Okay, we would really recommend that.
And I would love our attendees here to take the knowledge they take from this presentation. And of course, you're going to, whatever you missed, you're going to find it in the recording, and spread the knowledge. It's very good to spread the knowledge and share what you learn with your colleagues in schools and, centers or whatever place you're working in. Yeah. So I'll be happy for you to share the knowledge you're learning here in the academy with others.
I'm really happy to be with you. Thank you very much for this session. I'll repeat it. I wanted to know the time of next session, please.
It's up to Miss Summer. I think she has all the details. So she'll inform you, I think. Yeah, Ms. Sabar?
Yeah, please, you can hit the Facebook link, and then you will go to the group, okay, on Facebook. Also, we have some groups on WhatsApp, or maybe you can write on Google, Irtiqa Academy, KW, on Google. You will find our website, and everything is here there.
Thanks very much. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you so much. Any other questions? No? Okay, it was a pleasure meeting you all and hope to see you soon.
I just
And
want
Ramadan Mubarak.
to thank Mr. Muhammad, who is the organizer of this Ramadan sessions. So thank you very much, Mr. Muhammad. And I'm happy because he invited you to do this session today. It was very nice one. And I think I myself, I got some knowledge from this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you. My pleasure. Okay. See you soon. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thanks so much. Goodbye. See you next week.